Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm here with RH Max. I just wanted to do an interview with him, talk to him, pick his brains, see what he's all about. I love his channel. It's a really good channel. So I just like for him to introduce himself.
Cool. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Max, the RH Maximalist. Yeah, as the name says, been following Richard for 6 years and tend to stay in the ecosystem of his products way before Hex, way before PulseChain, all that. And yeah, I guess in the community, I'm most known these days for like being an interviewer. So I'm usually the one doing the interviews and trying to interview people in the community and just other people I think are working on interesting projects. And then I do security. It's like my profession too. So security expert, I guess you would say. And then lately it's been explaining like dev stuff about the PulseChain launch and all the updates we've been getting from Richard, which have been very technical. So I'm like, oh, I'll do a stream on talking about that stuff. So yeah, that's me. I mean, been in the community. I've been following Richard for a long time, but I only started coming out on social media the last year or so. So
Okay.
that's why, and then started a channel, Twitter, and yeah, that's how I communicate with the community these days.
Okay, perfect, perfect. You said that you follow his other products. What other products do he have besides Hex and Pulse Chain? Like,
Yeah,
does he have?
yeah. So the blue chip, I would say the blue chips are like Hex and then PulseChain, PulseX are coming out, and then maybe wallet or something later on, or incentive token stuff like that. But then within the RH ecosystem, so RH Maxi from his ideals, so his book SciVive, just again following before his crypto products. So like that side of him, I'm really fond of. And then in the ecosystem too, like I like 𝘰𝘰𝘰𝘰, I like ICOSA, I like a lot of the stuff that's good for Hex, good for the ecosystem. So yeah, I follow different people making products. Alex from 𝘰𝘰𝘰𝘰, Dipcatcher from Maximus Project. Just people
Yeah.
are doing stuff that I think is good for the blue chips, as I call them.
Yeah, didn't he doesn't he have a research program or a nonprofit to help extend the lives of people? I know you could sacrifice for that during the post chain days, during the post chain sacrifice days, you could sacrifice for that. And
Yeah, so there's a Sins Foundation, which is
Thanks
the
Foundation.
charity. So yeah, there's a bunch of controversy around it these days because the guy who he knew there, who he's a big fan of and did a lot of work for, left and started another foundation for medical research, for longevity research.
Okay.
And so yeah, for the pulse chain sacrifice, you could sacrifice part of it to them, and you got like a multiplier bonus or something like that.
Mhm.
And then ended up being $27 million sacrifice for medical research for the charity. That was the deal on that one.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I guess a lot of people don't really know that Richard Harder actually does have a lot of like charities, and he does like self-help books too. I'm sure you know about his self-help books that he comes out with and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but people are just mainly focused on his uh I get shit posting or whatever you would call it,
Outrage marketing.
outrage marketing. And of course, Richard Hart does it himself on purpose. You know, the whatever eyes, good news, there's no such thing as bad publicity, pretty much.
Right.
So same thing that he's doing. So it's been working so far now. What do you think about the outrage marketing? You think it's a good idea, or is just what Richard Hart does, or he's his own man, he can do
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do? So what's your
Yeah.
thought process on it?
Of course. He's genius billionaire founder, right? Like he has like the brand. He has this awareness. He's free to flex however he wants. But I think like just a logical level, I think it works. I mean, you see the
Mhm.
numbers of holders going up. You see stakers going up. You see his social media numbers going way up. So yeah, it may turn some people off. It's controversial from time to time, but his mission is glory. Like you got to start with that to really understand Richard. Like he wants to be one of the best people in the world.
Right.
And like crypto is a way to do that. He's already rich, but he can, become much richer. He can help more people start the foundations. I believe he'll do later on. He'll start focusing more on the medical research side.
Mhm.
So he does it, as a means to an end, not because that's necessarily his personality, but he knows that's how he can be effective. And that's why I think, yeah, I mean, do I like every picture or comment he posts? No, I don't like all of them, but like I know it's for the mission. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's effective. I'll say that.
Yeah, to be honest, some of his posts I really hate. It's really annoying, but I follow him. I'm talking about him right now. I've invested in PulseChain, PulseX. So no matter how much I hate it, it's working, right? No matter
Yeah.
how annoying it is, right? It still works. So I get the entire process.
Yep.
Um, so even now I see that he's maybe changed a little bit. He has a little bit less outrage marketing. His posts are more technical, in detail.
Mhm.
Do you know why he switched to a little bit more technical type posting now? I have a few ideas why. But
Yeah.
What would be your take on it?
Yeah. Why has he switched now? I mean, it's a good question. Of course, we're speculating about it, but if I were to try to think about why he's pivoting now, it seems like it's bullish for, PulseChain stuff,
Mhm.
right? He's not going to come out and start posting screenshots and all the dev details unless that he's like, okay, it's part of, like, again, everything with Richard is a mission. Like, he's mission
Mhm.
oriented. Like, he's trying to get something done. So it sounds like he's trying to give us, hope that, hey, this thing is coming sooner
Mhm.
rather than later. He said the other day we're closer to the end of the bear market than the beginning at a crypto macro level. So maybe
Mhm.
hopefully we're closer to the end towards launch than we are at the beginning after 22 months, of course. So yeah, I think he's been doing it because I call it the dev outrage marketing, where he just posts a whole bunch of technical details about all the
Yeah.
stuff, and here's the screenshots, and he just wants to. I think he wants to inform us more and be like, hey, guys, PulseChain's here. It's obviously we've been working on it. Maybe there's a roadmap change because of E2.0 and BSC stuff, but it's coming, and yeah, I want to help you stay more informed. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. To be honest, is although it's very, very technical, you're a security expert. I'm a software developer. It's still way too technical for me to understand like 80%, 90% of what's going on. But I rather have that technical updates than no updates at all. And the fact that he's actually coming out with very technical updates, he's coming out with screenshots, gives me hope. I was very annoyed with him, the common trope of 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. But now that he's
Yeah.
coming out with more updates too, I think it's actually a good thing. And on top of that, I know you say you don't really, you don't know that much about Zen, but Zen has been, a lot of Zenians have been like attacking him or trying to goat him. I honestly feel like a lot of people that are into Zen, they own PulseChain themselves and they own PulseX. So they're trying to use maybe jealousy or reverse psychology.
Competition.
Competition, yeah. Competition is your best indicator of better performance. So they're using that thought process to like maybe push him along, push him forward. And I know that Richard Hart is trying to ignore it, but he has two eyes just like everyone else. So I'm sure he ignores it, but he also sees it in the background too. Do you think that maybe competition is pushing him towards wanting to release the chain, or is that just random speculation?
Good question. I didn't think much about it until I saw some few clips and people talking about it, and it started coming around to, okay, maybe you said he has two eyes, but he's been using the two buttons lately, the mute and the block button a lot, seems like lately too. So he obviously sees some stuff, but I don't know. I hope it's a healthy motivation. I hope that when he sees other projects around and launched here and launched there and stuff like that, that he sees that, hey, like I don't know. I'm not sure that it's going to make things go any faster, but I do, maybe that triggered some of the updates. I could read into that much, but I don't think Richard moves the timeline around based on how many people yell at him. But I will say that if he sees the other things coming up around him, and he himself, I'm sure, is anxious for this thing to get going, because that's I've been through on my channel. I went through the phases. I believe, like, phase one is like Hex, build a following, get the people going. Phase two, PulseChain vertical integration, and like really become the best guy in crypto, the best, one of the greatest people in the world. And then step three is like, okay, actually save people's life with medical research. That's like my speculation of what his mission and what his phases are. So I think he's happy to get to phase two and get that get on with towards the glory path.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that personally, I think that maybe the competition doesn't make him go faster, but it does make him release more updates. That's why he's been coming out with more technical updates and more updates even on V3. Now that V3 is about to come out, what is the purpose of the V3 testnet, I guess? How is it different than V2 or V2B? What's your thought process on it?
Yeah, so V3 is, well, I guess V3 is really just V1, but with ETH 2.0. So the other two test nets, V1 and V2B, and maybe there's a private V2 at some point. Those were based on BSC. Those were based on what we're using before. We're forking the BSC chain, all of that before ETH 2.0 launched. After that launched, again, people speculate the roadmap changed. Hey, it launched. Maybe they thought it wasn't going to launch, so we're going to go with BSC. But now ETH 2.0 is here. We want to be green. We want to take their new features and improve off of their stuff. We want to contribute back to the community like that. So now we're going to fork 2.0. I believe, that's a logical case for why things got delayed a little bit too, because now we're doing a completely new fork. So the reason I say V3 is like V1, because it is V1 for the new fork. And that's why, why do we do V1 and V2B before? To try to get the bugs out, to try to see how people liked it, to try out the new interfaces, just make sure everything is working. So you need test nets in order to, it's like betas, right? Like no company releases a product. Maybe they release an MVP to certain customers, but if you're releasing a product, you want to get feedback. You want to get people testing things, breaking it in order for you to make it solid when you do release it. So yeah. Testnet V3, he just wants people to play with it, break it, fix some final things. And I've even said before, maybe we don't do mainnet. Maybe we do a quick V4 beforehand, just to try out the finishing touches, because you don't want to work 2 years on something and then it breaks. So Richard is fully aligned to make sure that doesn't happen.
No, it's true. He definitely doesn't want it to break. Hex has been up 100% uptime. So I'm sure that's exactly what he wants with PulseChain and PulseX too. So that's, I'm like 90% sure that's the main reason why he's taking so long. He wants perfection, or at least as perfect as possible. So maybe that makes things go a long time. But unfortunately, there's no such thing as perfect software, right? But you can only make software as good as possible, to the point where it's almost impossible to find bugs with it.
Yeah, you can avoid critical bugs. I mean, there's always going to be some bugs, but we want to avoid the critical ones. That's the point.
Yeah, the ones that will like heavily slow down the network or make it crash, stuff like that. What would you say is the ecosystem that you're most anticipating that's PulseChain related, like liquid loans or Hedron or any other coins? I know there's something like a Pulse Doge that's also coming out. There's so many different tokens and chains. What are you most excited about?
Yeah, so Pulse Doge actually was a free airdrop already, but it'll still be copied over to PulseChain. It's just kind of like got a head start on it. So that exists. That was a free claim a while back. But as far as the projects that are launching like exclusively on PulseChain, I think liquid loans is great. I think it serves a purpose. You can take loans instead of having to sell your Pulse. You can, and they may be, that's like good for reducing the sell pressure too. It's good for, hey, I just need a loan right now. I'm going to pay it back. Maybe people default. We'll see what they're going to do. But I think there's a lot of advantages for using their platform. And yeah, that's one of the biggest ones that I can just see where, like, wow, that's something I want to use. That's something I can see a lot of people like benefiting from. And that's what I try to focus on when I go over, talk to founders, talk about different projects, is like, what is good? Like, what is providing utility? What is a positive price feedback loop for Hex? Whether it's a derivative, whether it's something that's built on top of Hex, whether it's something that's like providing utility for people on PulseChain. Yeah, liquid loans ticks a lot of those boxes. So I think, I don't know if they're going to launch exactly when PulseChain launches. I think it'll probably be maybe a few weeks or so, because I think they want to see.
They said a month or two after PulseChain launches.
Yeah, because they want to see, what the market does. If there's a huge dip, they don't want people getting liquidated for no reason. Like they can just wait a couple months if they need to make sure the market kind of settles down a little bit. So it'll be interesting. I think that's definitely one of the ones I'm looking forward to using, though, because they provide a clear use case. I'm like, hey, they're not just, meme coins. There's a place for them. There's a place for, there's a place for derivatives, of course, but things where, okay, I don't need to sell my Pulse. I can just take a loan on it and, do stuff like that. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah. I'm also like heavily looking into liquid loans. I didn't do the sacrifice for it, but I really got interested in so many strategies that's going on. There's like a Hexacat strategy. There's a OG43 strategy. Haunted strategy. Yeah, and in fact, I even came out with a strategy. Let me share one myself. I call it like the Benito strategy, just because like that's really what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I'm not going to sell any PulseChain, and maybe I'll sell a little bit of PulseX, but I'm not going to sell any PulseChain, but I wanted to take out the value from that while I wait for that. In fact, yeah. So here's my strategy, the Benito strategy. Pretty much just, I do a 300% collateralized loan right here. So if I put in $6,000, I take out $2,000, and then I invest into the regular stock market, and then put most of it into stable coins, loan token, USDL, all these different things, right? And that's the good thing about PulseChain, that you can, and PulseChain and liquid loans and all the other tokens that's related to it, you can make it work however you want it to work, because there's so many ecosystems that's connected to it, so many other chains that's connected to it. It's almost like AOL back in the day, like 1999. I don't know if you remember, like AOL wasn't really the internet. AOL was like a walled garden of the internet. And this is like maybe a newer version of that, or like, I guess a more recent terminology will be the App Store. The App Store is more walled garden of your approach to the internet too. And that's really what's going to happen with PulseChain, with so many different layers being built on top of it. And I'm actually really excited for it to happen. My prediction is that it's going to come out May, June, July of this year. But of course, that doesn't mean anything. I don't know when it's going to come out. Richard himself doesn't know when he's going to come out. He says that all his predictions are wrong when it comes out. So all I can do
is right about all the wrong predictions.
Yes, exactly. All I can do is just guess. But based on how V3 is coming out, based on like rumors that I see on Reddit or Twitter, people are saying that the end of Q2 is when it might come out. The end of Q2 is what it seems like is going to happen. Maybe the beginning of Q3, with 6 months or less from now, which sounds good. So all we can do is just cross our fingers and hope, pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds good. I don't know. Before all the testnet screenshots and stuff, I had my sights set on 2024. I just keep pushing it out, very conservative with it, because I'm like, I don't want it to, bother me. I don't want to have anxiety from it. I don't want to financially plan around something that I don't have enough data to make decisions on. So maybe it sounds like this is the first time in the last few weeks I thought, okay, it could release this year. So could be. Hard to say though. Hard to say. I certainly hope so. I think we've been waiting on it a while, but software is hard, right? Software is hard.
Definitely true. Yeah, at first I was like planning my life around it. I was even planning my life around May of last year. But after it didn't come out, I was really angry. But then I had to like look back and look at myself. I'm like, okay, you're really worried about something that you cannot control. You're really making it angry in yourself. And I know, yes, we sacrificed lots and lots of money for it. I get it, right? But there's nothing you can do about it. That's really what it is. So because there's nothing you can really do about it, you just have to be patient and just wait for it to come out. Unfortunately, it takes a long time, but that's all you can do. You don't really have another choice.
There's a framework that I like a lot that's pretty applicable. I think Warren Buffett talks about it, where you should only think about things that are both knowable and important. Because if it's important but not knowable, then you have no influence. There's not enough data to actually reason about it. But if it's knowable but not important, then why are you thinking about it in the first place? So PulseChain is both. PulseChain, obviously, it could be important depending on your financial situation, what your plans are, what the market may do. Even though that's kind of like halfway knowable, you're just kind of guessing on that part. But you don't really you don't know when it's going to launch. So it's just not something. I try to like remove it from my mind using frameworks like that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Okay. Moving on a different note, I guess. Tell me something personal about yourself, or it doesn't really have to be crypto related, but how did you get into crypto, or what do you like to do for hobbies, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think is pretty unique that I've been participating in a lot is the local meetups for Hex. So before I was even a streamer, I just went to, I was like, oh, there's a Telegram channel for, Washington meetups. I'm like, oh, cool, it's nearby. So I got on there and started talking to people, and I just got Twitter too. And so I got there and people were like, oh, are you a streamer? I'm like, oh, no, I don't know. I don't think I want to get into that. And then the next meetup, we started having them almost every month. And the next meetup, I was like, yep, start a channel. I'm going to start streaming. Nice. So, and then our local meetup has turned into quite a fun one. Like we go to bowling. We've been doing events pretty much every month, either bowling or we go out to dinner or what else? I think we're planning an indoor skydiving event soon.
Nice.
So
nice.
I really like just the local communities. And we're actually doing a stream maybe next week. Yeah, I think next week we're doing a local crypto meetup stream where I might like showcase a lot of people that are in the community, and it's really helped build it. It's really helped people come out. And I think when you're connected to something, I've really been a bit happy to like have this connection with people locally, not just over the internet, but like in real life, where it just holds you together more. It feels more like a community when you're talking face to face, like having drinks or bowling or like high-fiving each other, versus just streaming all the time. So that's one of the things I've got the most value out of and contributed a lot towards too. I've set up some events myself, so it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, cool, nice. Like in Seattle, is that where you live? Seattle area?
Yeah, greater Seattle area. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, over here, I live in like the Washington D.C. area. too. Last year was completely dead because the market was going down. But now I'm hearing more and more rumblings of like Bitcoin meetup or Ethereum meetup. There's a Xen meetup, actually, the first major Xen meetup that's in New Jersey, New York this weekend. So I can see that the momentum is starting to swing back up. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I'm going to have to cut this short. Sorry. I have another meeting to attend to. But talking to you was absolutely amazing. Let's definitely do this again in the future.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Benito. And yeah, I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Special announcement. I'm now participating with MEXC Global and NORDVPN. MEXC Global allows you to trade cryptocurrencies of all types, of all stripes, of all kinds, quickly, efficiently, and safely. Secondly, NordVPN gives you the privacy of surfing the web without having to have prying eyes, or maybe you're in a dangerous location and you don't want prying eyes to come through and allowing you to be hacked more efficiently. So click the links below and sign up for MEXC Global, and also click the other links so you can sign up for NordVPN.